Just over a year ago, I posted my very first island tour video, and since then I have been fully immersed into this game. Like, I've done countless dream address tours, pinned way too many pins on Pinterest, and even bought a second Switch so I could build up a second island. Yeah, I know. And in this video, I'm going to be giving you a tour of that second island, which I think serves as a perfect visual representation of everything I've learned and been inspired by over this past year. So, without further ado, I welcome you all to Outset Island. First off, there is no particular theme with this island. It's kind of all over the place. It looks city core right here, cottage core in the back, farm core off to the sides, but it's none of those, okay? I just went for a realistic and diverse kind of island, you know? It's actually Cordless 7 core, that's what it is. Or maybe just like Cordless core. Or even Cord core. Or maybe even, now I'm not going to be humble about this brag at all because I'm really proud of it. I actually made these road paths. Yeah, with my bare hands. I'm impressed too, man, because I never thought I would do that. It's incredibly tedious and intimidating, but I couldn't find the roads that fit with what I was going for. So, cut to, I made my own roads. Now, these are heavily inspired by Angie at Kokiri Island. She made some beautiful roads that I used for a while, but I like having a little bit more depth to these paths, so I designed mine with some heavy shading to give the illusion of depth to where it looks like you're actually stepping onto a curb because, you know, depth. And I did the same thing with these tile paths. Like, I didn't come up with this tile design, by the way. It's actually very popular. I just added the border around it to give it an outline, and of course, depth. I like depth, okay? Depth. But the first area I'm going to show you is this Beachy boardwalk. This is loosely based off of the boardwalk that I did on my first island. I just expanded on it to fit this entire area, and I will say this thing stood its ground. It's been here since the very first iteration of the island, and I just love it. I think it works great as a transition from beach to shops, you know? And speaking of shops, here are the shops. This whole area has changed a lot from when I originally designed it. At first, I was going for this natural theme, and then I spruced it up a little bit, and then I just said, what the hell, let's go for it, and went with this city theme. And the main reason why I did that was to make this area entirely different from the rest of the island. Before, it looked just like the neighborhood, which I'll show you in just a second, and I felt like I was designing the same thing over and over. So the city look really changed up this area, and I am here for it. I mean, just look at this pothole, for example. Yeah, that's a damn fine pothole. Damn fine. In between the shops, you can see the grandiose entrance to the museum. And now I did have like the beautiful statue out here in the middle, but then I got the Statue of Liberty and I thought, well, that's a bit much and kind of an overkill. Let's use it. Plus, I think it works well with the city vibe down here, and it kind of goes with all the other little displays. I like having these small exhibits to look at outside the museum, and I tried using things that I don't normally see on other people's islands. So, whatever, I think it's cool, I like it. The only thing that gets to me, though, is that when I try to take a picture over here, Lady Liberty becomes a massive buzzkill. Like, we get it, sweetheart, you're cute, but scooch over. Damn. Oh, and by the way, this is going to be a reoccurring thing that I mentioned. Oh my god, there's a balloon. I'm all about having everything connected with multiple ways to get around. There's nothing more annoying to me than going to someone's island and getting lost or stuck with only one way to get back. So you will see as we continue on with the tour that there are plenty of ways to get around, and I even double path the map so you can see the main roads. Huge shout out to my friend Cosmic Vengeance who fussed at me about my map until I did that. So thanks, Cosmic. To the left of the shops, I wanted to do some version of a canal design mixed with those crazy city markets that are just crammed with stuff, you know? But I didn't have enough space to do both of them separately, so I just mixed the two together, and I think it came out pretty cool. It even gave me the idea to do these townhomes right over here, which kind of turned this area into its own little neighborhood or something. And by the way, these were super easy to make. They're just loft beds with simple panels in front of them. I'll have all the design IDs for them and everything else that I'm using on my island in the description for you guys to check out. Now, the other part over here is the arcade, and I know it does not make any sense, okay? I know. I go for realism, which means I don't like to do things like an outdoor library because, like, what if it rains? There's no roofs. It doesn't make any sense. And over here, I literally have machines outside on carpet right next to the beach. It wouldn't be that bad if I used wood flooring or something because then it would look like a boardwalk, but I just love the old school vibes of this, you know? So whatever, I like it. It brings me joy. And by the way, I don't normally put anything on the beaches except for a couple of chairs, maybe, because the rest of the island is so packed full of stuff, it's really refreshing to walk into a nice, clean, open beach. That's why I'm not really showing very much of the beaches, so thought you should know. Now, I could continue on this way and it would lead back to the middle of the island, but this is my favorite part, so I'm going to save that for last, so just make sure you stick around. I'm telling you, it's worth it. But let's make our way back to the other side. Alright, over here is one of the 3 houses I have on my island. And yes, I made 3 separate accounts on this Switch just so I could have 3 houses. What? But this one is being used as the Island Hotel Resort. I did the same thing on my last island, and I really went for it this time with all the confetti, the walkway around it, the parking spots for the bikes, and even a courtyard. I love this courtyard so much. I don't know why. It's just small and cramped, but I love it. And now I wanted to incorporate as much stuff from the game as I could, and with wedding season being one of the first events that we got and that I remember playing, I decided to go for a wedding venue down here on the beach. I was going to do like a surf rental place, but I already have something like that on the boardwalk, so I just wanted to change it up, have a little bit more variety. You know, it's cute, it's fine, whatever, I like it. Now for all the hardcore Cordless 7 fans out there, you might recognize this next area. Right? It's the farmer's market. You remember this? It's nearly identical to the one that I built when I first started the island. I just really wanted to keep this in here as a throwback to the original idea, you know, to keep me humble. Remember where I come from, and I'm so glad I was able to get it to work. And plus, I had a little bit more space to make it look how I originally wanted it to. Raise your hand if you remember this from like 7 months ago. Okay, raise your hand. Raise your hand in the comments. All right, I'm gonna cut back over this way. Oh God, don't look up there. It's a surprise. Don't look. Don't look. Don't look. Don't look. Don't look. Okay. So over here, behind the hotel, is the second house on my island. It's actually owned by my wife's account. Isn't she adorable? And I turned it into a restaurant. I'm not gonna go into any of these houses, by the way, because they're not done, and that would just be way too long of a video. So I'll save that for another time. But this is the outdoor seating area. I just love the bar and the live music and the hostess stand and the seats for the people to wait for their table. I love the whole thing, okay? I love all this. It just came out exactly how I pictured it, and that rarely happens in this game, you know? All right, before we get to the really good part, I'm just going to circle around the residential services building real quick so you can see it. I kept it all pretty symmetrical with the iron and stone fences, public benches, and bushes, so nothing amazing. However, check this out, man. I built up train tracks with a train station. Dude, I know. This used to be a river that circled around all the way over to the farmer's market, and I didn't know what to do on that side. I was stuck there for a while. So when I got this idea, it all came together. It fit perfectly without me having to mess with the museum, and it gave me the idea of building another mountain on this side, which completed this whole area. If you can't tell, I'm really excited for it because it was just such a relief when, you know, you get an idea and it finally just pulls everything together, especially something that you've been stuck on for like 2 months, you know? Next up is the island neighborhood, and now this is what most of my island used to look like, you know, with the brick path and insane amount of bushes, which I still really like, you know, I love me a good bush, but it was a bit of an overkill before I switched to the city paths. And now I feel like this is its own area, and it kind of makes the island feel bigger because of the contrast, right? Like, does it feel that way to you guys too, or is that just me making shit up? But if I keep going this way, it leads back to where the farmer's market is and the other side of the tracks. And this is why I didn't want you to see it earlier, because I think the other side with the actual train station looks better, you know? Like, this is where the train tracks end, and it's more in the quote-unquote countryside of the island, which is why I use like the dirt paths here instead of another train station, you know, just to give the island a little bit more depth. Going back up, we have this dog park with a black plushie that looks like my dog Rihanna. Yeah, adorable. Also have this wrapped present to look like a poo bag that someone didn't put in the trash can. There's always one person, just put it in the garbage can, man. You're so close. And over by this tree, if you pan the camera down, you can see a fossil that looks like a huge pile of dog shit. Yeah, it's the little things that get me by, man. It's the little things. And if we keep going up, there's a spot right here that's pretty easy to miss, but that was intentional because it leads out to a secluded cemetery. I had something similar to this on my last island, and I still feel like it was necessary to have on this one. You know, like, we need something a little morbid to balance out the wholesomeness in this game, and I stand by that. But yeah, small little cemetery over here, and remember how I mentioned that everything is connected, right? So if we head out this way and come down the beach, it connects back up to where we were, and I made this little bike path / hiking trail in between the houses that connect back to the middle. So you see, even over here, there are still plenty of ways to get around. All right, going up to the next level is the rest of the neighborhood. I always like the look of tiered houses, so this was a lot of fun to make. And my house is up here and is the only one on this top level because, you know, king of the castle, I can't be on the same level as the peasants. Plus, I built and paid for all this for them to enjoy anyway. But, you know, let's not open that door. Now, the villager houses all have a similar layout. I picked out flowers that match the way each of them look and put furniture items outside that match the inside of their houses. So like Stitches, for example, is a colorful bear cub, so I used different color flowers that matches the way that he looks, this tricycle because he's a cub, and a colorful bench to, go with his whole look. And I did that same thing for all the other villagers. And the last part up here is the orchard and pumpkin patch, which I like so much better than my last island because it's not so overbearing, It's much smaller, but it still gives me more fruit than I actually need. And again, about that whole getting around thing, I didn't put a fence right here so I could easily get back over to my house without having to walk all the way around. I know I'm saving like, 0.8 seconds from having to walk around, but it's still 0.8 seconds, So I rest my case. All right, guys, here we go. The last 2 spots of my island that are my absolute favorite. First off, we have this cutaway here that leads all the way over to the secret beach. I just love walking through here because it feels like I'm going hiking or something, And if I go left, it leads over to the campsite that's in front of a pretty big lake. I'm not going to pan up because I don't want to ruin the view just yet. So come on, let's go. Let's go look. Let me show you. This area up here is directly behind the museum, so I created this Zen garden to show off more of the statues, and I figured it could also work as a nature walk or something that's part of the museum, But the absolute best part of my island is right here. I mean, just look at this view, man. I love this so much because it looks so different depending on the time of day and season. So it just keeps on giving, Like, okay, right now, you probably can't tell that there's Godzilla back there, but in the morning, you can see it pretty clearly. And at night, you can see the beam of the lighthouse just rotating around while everything else is silhouette. So I'm always coming up here to check to see what the view is, and I'm telling you, I'm never disappointed. I absolutely love this. Highly recommend you build a lake if you can. Now, if we go up this way, it comes to a custom-made bridge. I just use custom designs that match the swinging benches, and I feel like it works. I don't know, I feel like it looks pretty cool. But it leads over to that whole area that we were just looking at from the bridge, which we can actually explore. It was important for me to still be able to come over here and just walk around. So if we have a ladder, we can get up to the upper levels, or we can just keep going around, and eventually it will connect back to the start. And see, look at that. I don't know why, but that's so rewarding. Just being able to move around wherever. I don't know. It's the little things, guys. I'm telling you, it's the little things. And to finish up the tour, we have a little garden over here that shows all kinds of flowers that we can get in the game, which I didn't use for the villagers' houses, and a bunch of different bug models that I never really show anywhere. So this just felt like a good way to show off both of these things, and it could still be part of the nature walk from the museum. So I feel like it works out pretty well. Oh, and speaking of museum, if I wanted to get over there without having to walk all the way around, all I have to do is jump over this river and then boom, museum. See, I like to get around. Wait. But that is it for the tour. I really appreciate you all watching. I will have all the design IDs listed in the description. And also, I created an Instagram account where I post pictures of this island, and I do all kinds of live streams of it on Twitch. So I will have links to both of those listed in the description as well. But please give this video a like, and if you want to see more videos from me, consider subscribing and hitting the bell so you don't miss anything. But thanks again, and I'll talk to you soon.